I would have not been able to get close to you wasn't this miracle of technology. So I know firsthand the difference between old methods, which was those board, and it was cutting edge at that time. It was like, wow, this is amazing. We can point at the symbol and have some idea. Now you're just talking like anybody else, and I'm answering your question like anybody else. Like there is no difference.
in your bow, you make that work garden and it comes all of food. Would you be here for garden and how it can you your family of life?
Hmm. Well, I guess my gardening is not wasn't by choice. My father was amazing. He was in the army, but he loved gardening, and and so I grew up in the orchard. So it becomes part of my life. Did you finish with your question? Okay. So 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 I grew up that way, and it was always my hope that I do it, but I couldn't do it in India because I was a refugee for 7 years. So when you have no money to eat, you obviously cannot have a land or do any cultivation. When I came to Canada, I said, okay, I want to recreate that garden, that orchard that I grew up. And I couldn't do it in Manitoba. We were in Manitoba, which is, 6 months, this is all snow and ice. Until 25 years ago, we came to Vancouver Island, which is amazing. Summer is like California, it's very hot, and fruit trees can go. And I always loved it. It's beautiful to see the flowers and the fruits. And of course, we call our garden community garden because as of yesterday, one First Nation family came to pick up cherries. Another friend came to take today. Another lady is coming to pick up some other cherries or sour cherries because this is for public. And so I enjoy that. Also, I was so happy to read somewhere. They asked, I think I read it somewhere, I hope I'm right. They asked Abdul Baha, if you were not the center of the covenant, what would you like to do? He said, I wanted to be a gardener. I said, all right, that is good. And when Baha'is were forbidden to go for a long time and the communication had stopped in Holy Land, that's what Abdullah was doing, taking care of the plants and flowers. So for me, it's been something I grew up, something satisfied me, the beauty. My second book, actually, when I wrote it, I was in a hammock in my garden, back in backyard, and the whole thing happened in few hours. I had the central ideas on a hammock in the garden, and that's why I tell you, I send you the picture of my office, I call it. It's basically a sunroom with all the flowers, with the glass. So but I can sit on it in winter too if the snow comes or rain comes. And that has been source of my inspiration. I enjoy it being there, and I love it. I think it nourishes your soul, to me at least. It's really is amazing source of inspiration to see what you planned. When we got this house, it was a junkyard. There were all these dead cars and oil and tools and everywhere. So we had to get a bulldozer to level it and make it level. Then we started planting with my wife. So that's another satisfaction that you created this beauty out of a junkyard. And that in itself is very satisfying. And also to see that people come here, enjoy the flowers, and take the fruits home. Everybody comes here, they take mulberry or cherry or something home. All the neighbors, ex-student, doctors, nurses, everybody. And that's so satisfying because you're sharing this with everybody. And there is a, I always say giving is an addiction. And I hope the whole world gets addicted with it because there is such a high intoxication when you give something and see the pleasure in people and say, "Oh, I did that, and look, the happiness, and I did something." So it makes you totally addicted to giving. And I hope everybody will be addicted to giving. That will change the whole world, I hope.
you you make it that you your life are all in both it in me and you and you Allah.
Sure. Um, my wife's education is, are you finished with the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife's education is special ed, and so that's for education. And when she was working in high school, she was in charge of the special ed, means education especially made for people with challenges, emotional, physical challenge. And I was also involved with people with challenges when I was in before coming to the island, because in Canada a long time ago, all the people with challenges, especially mental, emotional challenges, or even physical challenges, they were put into institutions. And one of them was in close to Manitoba. It had like about 500, 400 residents. It was a huge out of town. It was really sad, like a prison. So, what happened at that point, they decided to bring them in the community. So, this movement still is new even in Canada. So, if sometime you think that Canada is behind, remember that India is behind. Remember, Canada was not very far ahead. So, I was involved with that. And so, what they brought them out of the institution, they put them in different homes. They call it group home, three or four of them to in one place, and integrate in society, go to work, cook or whatever as much as they could. So I managed a group home for a few years, and so I lived with them, and of course you become kind of a family. So that's my involvement. And then we came to Vancouver Island. My wife was of course the teacher, so he knows the student. But we also got involved out of the school with the Special Olympic as volunteers. So my wife and I, we volunteer in two programs. One of them is called Club Fit, that we help athletes prepare them to be fit. And of course, they have different challenges, but you help them. Also, track and field, and train them for the disc or javelin throw or running. And of course, we were so lucky to one of our participant that I knew from, she was in elementary, I was in her school. She went to World Olympic for a special Olympic, and she won a gold medal. So we were so proud of her. And of course, she's being First Nation, and that was more pride. So anyway, we have been always involved with them because I always say they call them a special. And I always said they are special because I think they're special to God. Because I really feel that every time I'm close to them, I feel a vibe. I feel totally at peace. And I remember when I was working in my office in the high school, one of them came and I was very stressed. My job was counseling and I would get stressed. And one of them came to my office and said, "You look very stressed. Do you need a hug?" And I said, "Well, I don't mind." And when she hugged me, Anand, you cannot believe the peace came to me. All my worries. So I always look at them as special because I really believe they are special in the eyes of God. So I see them that way, and I get pleasure when I go to help them. I think I'm going to help with the Special Olympic. But every time I go, I come home, I say so rewarded. I feel so charged. I feel so blessed to receive with pure love. The laughter is pure. The love is, and no mask on the face, no deceiving. They're so pure hearted. And that's the privilege to be around that kind of atmosphere. So some people don't understand what an amazing gift we have with people with challenges that they're missing. So I always think that I'm using them to feel good.
Yeah. Lui es, Lui es, voy un día, la, Lupe, along them.
My wife got cancer some years ago, and it was a very stressful time. And we had to go out of our town to another city for treatment, radiation, chemo, everything. And we had to stay in a hotel. Very stressful. And then they mentioned that she doesn't have much time to live, and it was, very difficult. And of course, she's survived it. She's alive and happy, and but at that time we didn't know. So we just realized that what the poor people do, they don't have, we spend about 4,000 for the hotel charges. What do they do? They cannot get treatment, go in a hotel. So we decided that we got an apartment, refurnished it, and so we call it Reza House in the name of my father, and we provide it for people who want to go for treatment free of charge. So that was one. But we also had in mind that we one day we start a home based on Baha'i ideas of caring for the seniors in a spiritual way and in an integration, because House of Justice is the full integration of elderly in the community. So that should be the goal rather than put them in a building, feed them, give them medicine, and let them wait to die. That's not really service to give. What about their soul? So we had this in mind to do it, but we never get around it till I went to India for a visit. And I was telling friends that we have this plan to build a home for elderly in Canada, but they said, why Canada? Why not India? I said, because in India, tradition is such that children take care of their parents. They said, that was old time. You're really out of touch. Not anymore. I said, what? They said, no. There are lots of seniors that they are starving. They're on the streets and they have no really source of support. I said, oh my God, I didn't know that. That was after end of my 3 months staying in India. So I said, we should do something. One of the Baha'is, auxiliary board members and members of council, they said, no, this is needed. If you want to do it in India. I said, sure. And I remember even talking to Tina and Sunil also, they were really saying that it's a good idea. Anyway, so we started looking for a land and we got 7 acres and started doing it. And actually, even today, as I'm talking to in between the breaks, I'm talking to the gentleman who's building the website for the Naz Restom. So this place called Naz Restom in the name of my mother, who's alive, and she's always bugging me that when are you going to build this? I want to come there and say, I said, Mom, be patient. He's been building it. So what we're doing with it, Naz Restom, we have planted 600 fruit trees because again, the fruit trees would be for the community. And we have helped the local school by providing the bags of school supply with the Naz Restom logo on it on a Republic Day on 21st January. We had some money coming through the crops on this that they have put it in the land. So anyway, so the first phase of that is to have a two-bedroom kitchen bathroom so that Baha'i activities can start. Also, we can start planning for the big phase, which would be at least 25 rooms to build for the bringing the elderly. So this is where we are. The first phase is finishing. The concrete was made. Now we are waiting for the electricity is connected. There's a water there. There's electricity. So that's what Naz Restom is all about. I'm very excited. Everybody talks about Naz Restom. I just suddenly become alive because it's such a beautiful thing. And all the villagers from like this family, grandchildren, daughter-in-law, son, everybody's part of it. We are not paying anything because they know it's good for the village. So they are very much behind. And of course, Baha'i is already planning to have a amazing empower program for the youth there because there are lots of young people. So anyway, this is about Naz Restom. I can talk till the cows come home, but I have to stop here.
the only level of without making that we I have been much better never however it only which I think have
As is a miracle. As I told you that I managed a group home for people with challenges, and one of them, such as yourself, and I couldn't communicate. The only thing at that time, they had these boards that he would put finger with the symbols and we could communicate. And it was not easy because of the hands and eyes coordination, muscle coordination. It was a very tedious, very frustrating. For him, his name was Nick. Beautiful soul. And to communicate with Nick, it was painful for him and for me because it was that. Now, when I see how you communicate, is a miracle to me because the distance, the gap between you and me, between not just you and me, your soul and my soul, because sometimes words can connect our souls together too. I would have not been able to get close to you wasn't this miracle of technology. So I know firsthand the difference between old methods, which was those board, and it was cutting edge at that time. It was like, wow, this is amazing. We can point at the symbol and have some idea. Now you're just talking like anybody else, and I'm answering your question like anybody else. Like there is no difference, though I have my own disability with my eyes and my brain doesn't work, and you have your own, but we somehow managed to have perfectly communicating, and that is nothing but miracle when we think of the letters of science were revealed when Bob declared these are the fruits that we can see, how those letters of science been released, and we are enjoying the fruits of it now, you and me.
the only to have a father but freedom for world.
Well, wisdom and me, we are not in the same boat. So I don't know there's any wisdom because, to be honest, sometimes I behave like a 5-year-old and I get excited about cartoons. My favorite shows I watch on TV is mostly cartoons and old westerns. So I don't know how much maturity I have gained. But if I had to share, I always believe, even in my with my writing, I always say, I'm not a writer. I'm just sharing what is in my heart. So if I have to do that, not as the words of wisdom, as just sharing what is in my heart, I would say life is too short, and I've said some saying also, life is too short not to love. That is one thing I've created. Life is too short not to love. And I think this is so important knowing that we are on this earth for a limited time. Before you know it, you blink and you're going. Let us use this time positively in the service of mankind, and so that when we go to the next word, we don't have regrets. And the example I can give you is I had a close friend of mine, a Baha'i friend of mine, that he was dying, and he was very close to me. And he said, when I die, I would like you to be with me. And I said, sure. Gordon was his name. And few times they called me and he wasn't passing. He had a lung cancer. And the last time I went and I knew he's going, and I was me and him and his wife. Before he takes his last breath, he grabbed my arm and said, Buddy, did I screw up my life? Basically, he was telling he had regrets. I didn't know what to say. I just said, I don't know, Gordy, but I know you're going to a kind father and he'll deal with you with mercy. But I realized that I don't want to die with that question in my mind. I want to do the best I can so that I don't have that regret. So my suggestion is do the best you can in this life. Life is too short, and all towards oneness of humanity, and don't underestimate your powers. People think that, oh, what can I do? I'm a lonely person. What can I do? It doesn't matter. Do your best. Your contribution could be a smile. You just go out and smile. You just say hello or wave at people. I mean, doesn't have to be very complicated. You don't have to give $2 billion to a charitable cause. Your smile maybe in the eyes of Baha'u'llah and God would be more $1 billion. So don't deprive humanity, and do your best that you can. Smile, say hello, communicate. I always say we Baha'is are the catalyst. We are the initiator. We are the instigator. We are the one who basically make this frozen heart of people melt and get the icicle out of their heart. So do the best you can. You may not succeed, as Abdul Bahar said. I tried to please people. I didn't succeed. You may. So at least we have less regret. So that would be my suggestion. Please don't underestimate yourself. Every day, come out with a purpose, and do something positive as much as you can.
That every body in error in error.
I think I'm privileged. To be honest, I feel so honored. I feel I'm part of amazing a young man's endeavor with the help of technology to make a difference. I really, and I mean it, I'm not using the word cheaply. I feel honored, and it's such a blessing to see you, your mom, and your brother, Amit. I haven't seen the other brother, but doesn't matter. And to be honest, and I mean it, I thank you very much for, including me in this amazing work that you're doing. And may God help you to do more and more. And I'm sure there are so many other things you're planning to do. And anytime I could be of any use to you, please don't hesitate. Okay?
Bye for now.
Bye, my dear. We'll be in touch anyway, right?
Yeah.
Take care of yourself and be in touch.